Okay, so our first warm-up minute is going to be a wide squat. So we're going to just kind of reach down, touch the ground, and reach up and overhead. But I want you to take it like nice and slow and nice and light. So think butt back, bend your knees, but a really nice wide position with your legs. So you can just reach down, touch the ground, and reach up and overhead. But as you're doing this work here, nice and slow and steady, notice, how do your knees feel? Because this is the only squats we're doing today. I know I'd like to go squat heavy because I love keeping our thighs and our butts nice and strong, but just know that these are the only squats we're going to do today. So keep it light, pay attention to how you're feeling. Did you get enough sleep? Have you been eating nourishing food? All the stuff, check in, notice how everything's going. And then we do have 3 speed rounds today. So just get a sense of, firstly, how do your shoulders feel? One of our rounds goes in for the shoulders. And then if you're just like feeling low energy today, you might choose to keep the speed off altogether. We got 8 seconds left. You got this. And time. Nicely done. Okay, step your feet just a little bit wider. We're going to sink into a little bit of a light squat position, but using it to just hold and twist. So we're going to bring one shoulder forward and then the other, bringing a little bit of rotation into the spine. If you like, you can push into the inner thigh or the knee just to get a gentle stretch, but be mindful, since you haven't warmed up those inner thigh areas yet, you might want to go just light. You got it. And then if things are feeling really good and you're already feeling pretty revved up, you might choose to bring hands behind head, keeping the hands off, holding that squat position, but that's a little bit more challenging to hold those legs there. Yes, nice work. 25 seconds left, whichever version you're going with. Nice, Linda. Awesome. Beautiful. 5 seconds left. And time. Nicely done. Okay, come all the way up and we're taking it into a little cross crawl. So opposite hand to the knee. Pick your knee up, give it into a nice light march. And as you do this work here, maybe just a little rotation in the spine. And then check in here. How do your ankles feel? How do your feet feel? Nice and slow and steady. This is still just one of our warm-up minutes, or our last warm-up minute. "20 seconds left. If you're feeling really good this morning, you might choose at this point to pick up the pace just a little bit. But if you're feeling like you need to be a little bit slower, a little bit more mindful, slow it down. Maybe you pause and find a little balance. Nice. And time. Nicely done. Okay, grab 2 weights. Heavy if you like. It's going to be that awkward farmer's carry. So one load at the shoulder, one load at the side, but we're going to take it into a little tightrope action. So we're going to walk like we're walking on a tightrope. You're going to walk the perimeter of your mat, nice and slow, one load at the shoulder, one load at your side, and then you're going to try to walk that tightrope position without wiggling and wobbling all over the place. So a mindful step, holding your arms away from the body so the weights aren't resting on your side and they're not resting on the shoulders. We're holding them up. Beautiful. And then once you've got that walk down, try to keep your gaze forward. So we're tuning into our proprioception. Where is your body connected to the space that you're working in? All right, now switch. So one arm, other arm up at the shoulder, other arm at your side. And then if you like, reverse directions, go the other way. Keep your eyes up, gaze forward. Arms held away from the body. Beautiful, you guys, nice work. 5 seconds left. And time, nicely done. Okay, stick with those weights, but we're just gonna load them up at the side. It's gonna be a calf raise and then alternating butt kick. So we're just gonna pick up the heels, nice controlled lift, one kick and then the other. We got 1 minute on the clock. We're going to keep that load hanging out from the side. So we're not going to let the weights touch the side of the body. And if you're just finding that strength in the hamstring muscles, you might choose to hold that squeeze for just an extra second as you do those butt kicks, just to fire up those hamstring muscles, and then use both calves, lift up, lower with control. Nice. But if you're feeling really energetic this morning and you want just a little bit more speed in your practice, you're going to pick up the pace just a little bit, but make sure that that calf raise is controlled. Beautiful. And time, nicely done. Okay, next up, it's going to be a deadlift. So if you like switching to a heavier weight, this is a great place to add that heavy weight, but we're going to stagger our stance. So 30 seconds, one leg back, 30 seconds, the other side. So step your right foot back. So we just get that bit of a staggered stance, and then we're going hip hinge. So we're leaning the chest forward, go only as far as feels right to you. Squeeze those glutes as you come up. So think hips thrust forward. Hinge from your waist, long spine. Yes. You've got it nice and slow and steady, especially if you're working with heavier weights. If you're working with lighter weights, you might choose to go just a little faster so you get a couple of extra reps in. Don't worry about going down so far that you touch the floor, but try to maintain that nice, long, straight spine. All right, switch your feet. Everything else stays the same. 10 seconds left. And time, nicely done. Okay, next up is one of our speed rounds, but it is in the shoulders and the back. So if you want to switch over to a lighter weight, this might be a place to do it. We're going to stay in that bent over position. We're going to go one arm for 30 seconds, the other arm for the other 30 seconds, and we're going for speed. So it's just going to be a row. So we're pulling that elbow up towards the ceiling, or think scrape the elbow into the ribs, keeping your belly firm, upper body nice and steady. Yes, and then if your shoulder's being mischievous this morning or needs a little extra care, slow it down, pay attention, make sure you're working at a pace and a rate with the right amount of weight that works right for your body. 5 seconds left, whichever variation you're going with. And switch, go to the other arm. Everything else stays as stable as it can, belly firm. You got it. Yes, Liz, nice. 20 seconds left. And time, nicely done. Come on up, set your weights down. Next up, it's going to be slow motion. So think burpee, reach up and overhead, touch down to the ground, step back to a plank, but then we're going to add on a little bit here. So it's going to be one leg lift, the other leg lift, step yourself forward, rise all the way up. Now, if that up and down positioning doesn't work good for you, you're going to choose the one you like best. So you might choose to stick with a squat, staying in that upright position, or you might choose to stay with the plank and just stick with the leg lifts. But if putting it all together feels good, we're stepping up, reach up to the sky, step back to your plank, one leg lift and then the other. Yes, you got it. Nice work, you guys. Ten seconds left. All right, the next time you come to that plank, stay there, stick with those leg lifts, and then release your knees down. Now we're sticking with the tabletop position. This round is for speed if you want to. 30 seconds one side, 30 seconds the other side. But we're just taking it into some fire hydrants. So that leg is lifting out to the side, coming back in. We got 30 seconds, nice and fast. Everything else stays as steady as it can. So the shoulders stay strong and stable. Belly stays pulled in firm. Yes, gaze down at the floor. Fast as your body will allow. 10 more seconds on this leg. And switch to the other side. Awesome, you guys, 10 seconds left. Woo, and time. Set that knee down. Pull your butt back to your heels. Just get a little stretch. Take a nice big breath. All right, next up is going to be a low plank, and you'll choose whether or not you want knees down or knees up. That'll be totally up to you. Elbows and forearms down. Start with your knees down. See how that feels. So we're going to be elbow lifting, alternating sides. So one elbow is going to lift and then the other. So we're pushing into the palms. One elbow lifts and then the other, keeping a nice steady position with the abdomen. Now, if that feels good and you want a little bit more, you're going to lift the knees up. Same thing here. Low plank, one elbow lifts and then the other. Nice and slow and steady. You got it. You're already halfway there. Nice, Judy. Beautiful. Ten seconds left. You got this. And time. Nicely done. Back to that tabletop position. Another speed round here. So it's going to be a hovering table. So you're going to pick your knees up, lower them down, right elbow to left, right knee to left elbow, left knee to right elbow. So it's a little crisscross, and then back to that hovering table. So we pick the knees up, hover, lower them down, drive the knee, back to that hovering table, fast as you can. So we cross the midline of the body, back to center, pick the knees up. And then if you want that bigger challenge, you're going to keep the knees lifted the whole time. Staying in that lifted position, go a little bit faster. You will touch the knees down in the center, but then the whole time you're crossing those knees. Yes, nice. You're already halfway there. Five seconds left. And time. Beautiful job. Okay, now we're going to take it into a side plank, your favorite version of side plank, but it's a 30-second hold. So on my page, suggested side plank is elbow and forearm down. You're stepping the feet long, holding that lifted position. If you prefer a tall plank, find your tall side plank or bring your knee down. But we got 30 seconds. Think lifting the ribs away from the ground or reaching your ribs up towards the sky. You guys are amazing. 6 seconds left. You got this. All right, lower yourself down, bend your knees, take it right into a clam, and then a lift and push. Feet together, we lift the knee up, lift the leg, push the heel out, bring it back in. 30 seconds here. And time. Awesome job. Okay, we're spinning around to the other side for that side plank, but you can flip over in any way that works good for you. Same thing on the other side. If you have a shoulder that needs a little bit of extra care, pay attention. If a low plank on the side works good for you, elbows and forearms down, or if you prefer that higher plank, pick it up. Knee down if that feels like a better supportive way to go. We got 30 seconds here, breathing nice and steady. Ten seconds left. You got this. And time. Nicely done. Lower down, bend those knees right into your clam. And then we lift, push out, bend, bring it back in. So feet stay together as we lift the knee, and then the whole leg lifts and pushes out. You got it. And time. Awesome job. Okay, we're flipping over onto our back, and grab your TheraBand if you have one available. Here we're gonna load our TheraBand across the hips. So come down like you're prepping for your bridge position. We're gonna take that TheraBand, get it tight up against the hips, and then push the TheraBand or your resistance band down into the ground. Push into your heels, lift your hips up, squeeze the glutes, lower with control. But we wanna use the TheraBand to create that bit of resistance. Nice and slow and steady. And then if you're working on that strengthening of the pelvic floor work, that especially my yoga friends who've been doing that work in class, if you want to stick with that half bridge, reverse your breath. So you'll exhale as you lift, inhale to lower down. But if you're just working on strengthening the glutes, you're going to keep holding that TheraBand nice and tight against your hips. Lift all the way up, squeeze the glutes, lower with control. Either way, you can control it with the breaths. You can exhale on your lift and inhale on your lowering, and that just helps support the effort. "15 seconds left. Nice, Robbie. Awesome. And time. Nicely done. Okay, set your TheraBand off to the side or your weights off to the side if you load it up. And now we're going to take it hands behind the head. So we're going to lift up into the crunch, release the hands, squeeze up a little further, hands behind the head, lower back down. So we exhale to lift and squeeze, hands behind the head, lower with control. We got 1 minute on the clock. Take it at your pace. Lift and crunch, release the hands, hands back behind the head, lower with control. As you do this work here, pay attention to your abdomen. If it's doming up into a bit of a triangle, slow it down. Think about pulling the abdominal muscles down towards the spine to create that sense of drawing inward. Reach and lift, hands behind the head, lower with control. Awesome, you got it. "20 seconds left. Nice work. And time. Beautiful job. Okay, we're back to our hip bridge, but now we're going to change it up just a little bit. So rather than walking the feet close to the butt so your feet are flat on the floor, you're going to walk your heels just a little bit away from the butt. So heels are going to be on the ground, toes and the balls of the feet are lifted. From here, we're pushing into the heels, lifting and squeezing up. We got 1 minute on the clock. Go as fast as you like, but I prefer that controlled motion here so you can tune in and pay attention. So with those heels driving into the ground, you might feel a little bit more of the work coming into hamstrings or the backs of the thighs. So see if you can find that work there. And if it's feeling good, you can load up with the weights. But if it feels better to keep the heels on the ground and pay attention, leave the weights off for this round. 10 seconds left. And time. Nicely done. Okay, grab your TheraBand, or if you're using a looping resistance band, then you're just gonna loop it around the feet. If you're using your TheraBand, you're gonna loop it around the bottom of the feet and then get a little crisscross. So that's just gonna help us create a little bit more resistance. I'm gonna turn sideways just so you can see what we got going on. We're gonna send those legs up to the sky, and then we're gonna start to pull apart. So we're gonna push the blade edges of the heels away from each other. Keep as much resistance on with that TheraBand as you like, or if you're working with that looping band, push out as far as you can control, and then don't let it ricochet you back in. Bring it back in with control. Yes, nice job. We want to maintain a little bit of a flex in the foot so we can really tune in and pay attention to driving out through the blade edge of the foot. So we're not collapsing in the ankles and the feet are strong. And then hopefully you're feeling some of that work happening down into the outer edges of your thighs. You might even feel it in the sides of your glutes. And time. Woo, nice job. Bend your knees, bring it down, set your TheraBand off to the side, hug your knees into your chest, just get a light little squeeze. And then from here, we're going to take it into a rock and roll and hold. So we're going to rock and roll up to a held position. And then from here, we're going to send one leg out, bend and bring it in, send the other leg out, bend and bring it in, rock and roll back, come up and hold, send one leg out, bring it back in, the other leg out, bring it back in, and away we go. You find a pace that works good for you, find your balance, release one leg, and then the other. Yes, you guys are amazing. If you struggle with finding that hold right at the top, think about pushing the backs of your thighs into your hands. Hands are going to resist. That's going to create a nice little support system right at your center. And then if extending that leg out is just not for you this morning, leave that part off. You can just roll back and roll right back up. If rolling the spine doesn't feel good, just stay in that upright position and just focus on the push heel forward and back. And time. Next time you roll up, come all the way up. And the last minute of work is just going to be a nice wide leg stretch. So you're going to step your feet out to a nice wide stretch position. So go to where you feel a good stretch in the inner thigh and the groin. Pause there for a second. And we're going to bring the hands behind the back. Push into your hands, lift your butt up, and then scoot your butt forward just a little bit more. That's going to bring a little bit more sensation into the inner thighs. Once you're there, walk yourself forward one step, pause and take a breath. We want to keep our toes active. So think pinky toes are drawing backwards so the inner thighs stay active and engaged. Keep those pinky toes drawing back, walk yourself forward one more step. If you can, keep those pinky toes drawing back, walk yourself forward one more big step. Awesome. When you're ready, come right back up. Walk your hands up, grab the backs of the knees, help them come together, and then a little crisscross applesauce or cross your legs in a way that feels good. We're going to take a little twist here. So rotate to one side. When you're ready, rotate to the other side. come back through center. We're going to come up to a standing position. So you come up in any way that works good for you. But as you come up, readjust yourself, and then we're going to take one leg, step it across the other. So we're going to crisscross our legs, line up your pinky toes best you can, and then walk yourself down to a depth that feels good to you. So you might choose to stay at the thigh. You might choose to go towards the shins or reach toward your toes. That'll be totally up to you. Just make sure it's someplace that you're comfortably breathing and it's not super efforting and you're not feeling any shooting pain in your back. When you're ready, come up nice and slow. The leg that's in front, keep that there. Take that arm, reach it up and add a little side bend. Awesome. Lift up nice and slow. Switch the cross in your leg. So other leg comes across. Line up your pinky toes best you can, and then back down to that fold. One side might look a lot different than the other, so just go to the place that feels right to you. Awesome. When you're ready, come up nice and slow. The leg that's in front, that's the arm that's going to reach up. Take a nice big side bend. Nice, and then lift up, uncross your legs. And now we're going to take it into a fold, but we're going to bend the knees a lot with that folded position. So think super generous bend in your knees, let your hands find the ground. Once you've got your hands down on the ground, we're going to think about where our sits bones are. If it helps you find them, place your hands on your bum, find those those bottom bones. And then we're going to think, reach the sits bones up to the sky. So not straighten your legs, but lift your sits bones up, which means you might not get very far because you might already feel a big giant stretch in the hamstring muscles. That's what we're shooting for, but you might not find it by straightening your legs. So think, lift the sits bones up, let your head drop down. Take 2 more nice big breaths here. All right, relax your sits bones down, bend your knees a lot, pull your abdominal muscles in, roll all the way up to a standing position, shrug your shoulders out. You guys are amazing. Grab your big stability ball if you're sticking around. Bye, Trish. You look pink in the cheeks. I like it. Oh, yeah.